First of all, thank you so much for taking the time to join, spending your Wednesday afternoon joining us. We really appreciate it. So quick introduction, I'm Georgie, I'm the 5K Your Way operational manager, and I've kind of set up the background, all the hopefully technical side of this, the Eventbrite stuff. So I'm glad I've done my bit and I can relax now. So fingers crossed it all keeps working okay. This is our first workshop, so yeah, we are a little bit nervous, but we're glad it's working all right, and hopefully we know it's gonna go great, and we're going to be doing some more in the future as well. So yeah, just so you know, as Gemma just said, we're recording this, so then we can share it afterwards, so just so you all know about that.
But can I just put in, what it won't do is it won't show your cameras at all. So once we've pinned ourselves, we won't be able to see any of you on recording as we share it. So don't worry about that at all, if any of you are.
Yeah, so it won't show that, but just so you know that that's happening, and then we'll share it afterwards as well. If you want to share it with anyone that you know that couldn't join us now, you can share it with them later. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our host for this workshop, Gemma Hillier-Moses. Don't know which way you are on everyone's screen. So Gemma is our CEO of Move Charity, co-founded the 5K Your Way initiative with Lucy Gossage, and is a cancer rehab instructor. So she really does know what she's talking about. I'm not just saying that because she's my boss. She's going to do us a really great workshop. So I'm really excited and looking forward to it. So I'll be quiet now and over to you. Thanks very much, Gemma.
Okay, Brill, thanks for the introduction, Georgie. So yeah, welcome to our first ever cancer-related fatigue workshop. Georgie, can you just make sure we have everybody on mute, please? That would be brilliant. Just changes the background sound so everybody can hear me. Just a little point, we are on Zoom, so if there is any issues with internet connections or issues, then if any of us go off, we will immediately get ourselves back onto this session. So just to let you know, internet can be a nightmare, can work beautifully, depending on what day of the week we are in. So don't go anywhere. If we do go off, we will be back very quickly. So I'm going to get you guys, so as Georgie said, why am I doing this workshop? So oh no, Georgie, sorry, we've just, I'm not sure what Georgie's just done there.
Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I meet people. I can't meet them unless I'm the host as well. I didn't realise that, sorry.
Okay, don't worry, we'll just carry on. I'll just put mute all. 1 second.
Just because we were getting a bit of background noise.
Yeah, so if everybody could just make sure they are muted, that would be brilliant. Okay, so technical issues out of the way. So what I want to do to start off with is, why am I doing this workshop? Okay, so I am the founder of Move Charity. I'm a cancer rehab specialist trained, so work with people who have had a cancer diagnosis around exercise, movement, physical activity and the way of life. Co-founded our 5K Your Way initiative, but also I was diagnosed myself with cancer at the age of 24 in 2012. So I have actually, I've experienced cancer-related fatigue and the other side effects from going through treatment for cancer. And so I can bring also my personal perspective, as well as working with others from a professional and personal point of view, into this workshop. So hopefully you guys will find that helpful. So what I wanted to do to start off the workshop is bring a bit of positivity. So as I said before, we are going to be using the chat box a little bit in this workshop, as well as hopefully giving you guys all the information, the tools and the knowledge you need for our first fatigue workshop. And I can imagine that after this workshop there's going to be another one as a knock-on effect of what we want to talk about after today, because there is a lot to go through in an hour. And anyone who knows me knows I love to talk, so likelihood I could be on here for 3 hours if I was allowed to. So let's get our positive pants on today, because we are all going through a really tough time at the moment, whether you're living with or beyond cancer, family, friends, or supporting anybody or a healthcare professional, but also we're all in something called a COVID-19 lockdown, which mentally and physically can be really, really tough. So I want you guys, if you would like to share with me something positive from your week in the chat box. So all you need to type in the chat box, so the chat box is the bottom of your screen, is something positive. Maybe it's a cup of tea in the morning while you were watching the snowfall at the weekend. Or for me, it's about my positive for this week was getting so many people, you guys, booked onto our first workshop. So that was such a positive thing for me. I kept seeing the notifications come in. So if you guys just pop in the chat box, what's that one positive that you felt this week that has really, you know, helped put a smile on your face, or just cheered you up? Okay, so if you feel like, oh, I'm not really feeling very positive today, you dig deep. We're going to do a bit of gratitude today, and that's part of this session. Okay, so we've got, I'm going to read a couple out, not all of them, but going outside for a walk in the snow and the sunshine. Yes. Son has passed some exams. Brilliant. Well done there. A swim in the sea. Oh, who's doing that on that must have been very, very chilly. Well done to you. That's very brave. Okay, so love being outside with a friend. Yeah. So met my friend for a natter and a dog walk, looking out at my garden and the spring flowers. Yeah, but different change in weather. Found some time to do some sketching. Coped much better this week with homeschooling. Yes, fair play to anybody who's doing homeschooling right now. Had a lovely walk in the midst of the sunshine, walked for half an hour. So see, I already feel more and more positive just from reading this. Getting in touch with me, been trying some herbal teas. Love that. Yeah. Taking photos of the snow, bought a new puppy home. Oh, Sophie, that's lovely. Signed up for 50 in February to raise money for Blood Cancer UK, and felt proud to finish move in 2019. So that's Jade. Yeah, well done. That's awesome. Getting out and sorting the garden, spring around the corner. Yeah, it's weird to think that spring's around the corner when we've had like snow as well. Okay, looking after my grandchildren who are 2 years and 1 year and 10 months. Wow, that would be a job to keep you going, and getting out on my bike. So love all of that. So even if you've not got there quick enough, keep them coming, because positivity we need right now. And it is hard to think positively sometimes, but even if we look at the smallest things that we're thankful for or that make us smile, it can make you feel that little bit better and that little bit warmer inside. And we're going to talk through some of that on this session today. So what I'm going to do is I am going to share some slides, but this is not a lecture. This is an informal presentation and workshop around cancer-related fatigue. And I want you guys to make sure that you get the most out of this. And like I said, there's likely to be a knock-on workshop after this for you guys who attend that will be even more interactive. But what I wanted you to get from this is basically all about understanding what cancer fatigue actually is, why it happens, and what we can actually do to reduce that cancer-related fatigue side effect. And I think from my own personal journey with cancer, I never really understood when I went through my treatment what cancer fatigue was. I wasn't told about it. I wasn't told why it happened, and I wasn't told what I could actually do about it. I kind of had to figure it out for myself. And 4 years down the line, I was still struggling from some of those cancer-related fatigue symptoms. But I think if what I've done workshops on in the past, and we've actually won a Nursing Times Award for doing this workshop. So with Laura Cutler from Macmillan, so just point that one out. But what I've learned is once you understand a lot about it, you're able to talk to people in a more meaningful way. So other people can also understand what it is, how it feels. And that's where you can help yourself a lot more, because it isn't just tiredness. I want to make that really clear. It's not like you can just go for a nap and then feel better afterwards. So cancer-related fatigue is real and it is a thing, and we're going to go through that today. So if you do have any questions, I am a good talker, so if you do have any questions as we go along and that I'm not stopping to maybe give time for those questions, pop them in the chat box, because Georgie's going to keep an eye on the chat box and then come back to it at the end and we can answer those questions. Before I get started, I also want to say every single person on the workshop is completely different, okay? You're all at different stages, different journeys, cancer is part of your life in a different way. So really be mindful of that. I'm not going to be able to talk about everybody's specific situation here. What we're trying to do is giving you the knowledge, tools, and hopefully some inspiration to take back into your lives to then make the steps and changes that you need to do. And that might be on your own, that might be to find some additional support, that might be to reach out to somebody else to talk a bit more about it, including your healthcare professionals or a cancer rehab instructor. So hopefully I'm okay. Everybody give me a thumbs up if you are ready. And if that's okay, good. Yeah, that's why I like seeing everyone's faces. Okay, let's get started. So I'm just going to share my screen, and we've got 46 on this workshop. Absolutely amazing. Okay, so I think Georgie's taken away my ability to share my screen. So Georgie, can you give me back my hosting, please?
Sorry.
No, that's fine. We're also
what?
not recording. You need to record as well.
Oh,
Sorry.
mine says recording.
Okay, Brill, can you give me back my hosting?
Yes. How do I do it again? What did I do?
Okay, sorry, we do have technical. We will get started in a second. Let me just. You just need to click on me and put host.
Oh, sorry.
Or go and share on screen and then let multiple people share. Yeah.
I think I've done it. Sorry.
Perfect. We're back.
Okay,
yeah.
I'll be quiet again. Sorry.
It's okay. Our technical person is having technical problems. Right, let's get going. Okay, let's share this. Oh, let me just move my people. Okay, guys, so what you will need to do, you can make sure I'm on speaker view so you'll be able to see the screen. So what I'm going to go through now is our fatigue shop. So what we want to do to talk to you about today is what we do as Move Charity, and then go into the workshop. So at Charity, we support and inspire people to move against cancer, because we really, really believe that movement really does. That's why you may be seen and engaged in some of our lockdown resources, our question and answers, our YouTube channel, the work that we're going to start doing here with our workshops, our 5K Your Way groups, a one-to-one program with young people with cancer. So there's a lot of different avenues that people can be part of the work that we do and be supported. So if you haven't actually engaged with any of those, I'm going to be going through some of the links and resources towards the end of this workshop. So let's go into cancer-related fatigue, the what and the why, and why it affects us in all different ways. So basically what fatigue really means is that you're really exhausted, you're tired and lacking a lot of energy. And it's not just tiredness. And I think that's really, really important to remember. It can be an extremely distressing side effect of treatment. And it really does affect us in different ways, in terms of some people get it quite mild. Some people get it where it literally, they can't get out of bed with it. And other people get it for years and years down the line. So everybody is affected very differently with that. But it's very common for people who have undergone cancer treatment. And actually, most people say it's one of the toughest side effects that they face, because often it really does take over your life and affect your life in different ways. And one of the reasons it can be quite deliberating is because when you don't understand why it happens, what actually happens and why it happens, the understanding and the awareness of it, and not knowing what to do about it, you can completely feel out of control. And what we want to do here is try and give you that sense of control back, to know that you can make a difference to reducing your symptoms of cancer-related fatigue. So I want to talk about why people get cancer-related fatigue. And you'll see as I go through, there's a lot of different variables that start to come into play, not just the fact that you've got cancer in your body or you're going through cancer treatment. So as I touched on there, one of the reasons that people get cancer-related fatigue is because of your cancer. So you can get it when you've got cancer in the body. So basically looking at the cancer causes changes in your body that leads to those fatigues. So they require much more of your body's energy. So taking that energy out of you when you have cancer in your body, releasing of certain proteins. And again, every cancer is different. So I'm not going to specifically go into the types of cancer. But also cancer causes weakening in your muscles, can damage certain organs, and can also alter your body's hormone systems. So it has a really big knock-on effect, which can start the cancer fatigue process as soon as you're diagnosed with cancer. Then the next step is really the cancer treatment. And anyone who's been through that treatment, whatever type of treatment it is, knows it has a really big knock-on effect physically and mentally. So chemotherapy, radiotherapy, bone marrow transplants, immunotherapy, surgery can all cause fatigue because they basically damage your healthy cells in your body. And so they they take a lot of that energy used to repair the body. And what might happen is that you also can get side effects such as anemia, nausea, vomiting and pain, insomnia, and changes in mood, which all then have that knock-on effect to fatigue. So you can see how there's a lot of things here that are coming into the factors of why we actually get fatigue. So anemia is also one of them, where you develop anemia because of your healthy red blood cells being destroyed. Pain, chronic pain is a massive thing of why you feel fatigued. And actually, pain is a vicious cycle, because often pain stops you wanting to do things, stops you from moving. Then that has that knock-on effect, and you just end up in that cycle where you just stay feeling fatigued. And what we're talking about here is that, it isn't just about sleeping more to feel less tired. It is about breaking that negative cycle. And again, the knock-on effect of cancer treatment, cancer pain, then also affects emotions. So psychologically, people really underestimate the psychological impact of a journey with cancer, and then that's knock-on effect with fatigue. Lack of sleep, again, fatigue, you also might not be able to sleep, you might have disrupted sleep, you might sleep more in the day, then not be able to sleep at night time. So it can really, really affect that. Poor nutrition is a big one. That has, again, a variable that has a knock-on effect. So often there's a real balance with that. People who are not able to put enough nutrition in their body because of the treatment that you're going through. Also changes to taste and smells because of treatment. There is the other side that we actually sometimes just throw loads of crap into our body. Like, I know that definitely when I was on treatment, I didn't have great nutrition support. I had a dietitian who just told me to eat as much as I can. I had Dr. Pepper every single day. I had a big bag of Doritos every single day. And I can't tell you how long it took me to get off that sort of diet, because again, that diet is just sugars. It's really bad food, but which we're fine to have every now and again. Like, I have chocolate, I have sweets, I have cakes, I have fizzy drinks, but not every day, because it can also have a really knock-on effect to our mental health as well as our physical health and how we feel. But like you're finding here, the way we eat can also have an effect on that cancer-related fatigue. Medications can also have effect on fatigue, and like I mentioned, hormonal changes, and the biggest one, lack of exercise. So I think one of the past myths of cancer is that you should literally rest. However, that is starting to change, and we're going to go into the evidence base around that today to understand rest when we need to rest. The body tells us often when we're exhausted and we're tired or we're going through treatment and you literally can't get out of a bed, can't get off your chair, literally can't do anything. But when you can do something, it's really important to focus on that, because if you focus on what you can do, it can change the mental dialogue, it can change how you feel, and it also can make you see that things are possible when you're going through cancer treatment. So I always take the example of when I was diagnosed with cancer and went through my treatment, I wasn't encouraged to move or exercise by anyone, really. I was the one who was asking the questions around exercise and cancer, which is why I set up Move Charity. But what the biggest thing was that you go to a children's ward and they do not sit still. Young kids with cancer are running around all over the place, playing, moving. You can't sit them still. And actually, I always think that, from an adult oncology or hematology perspective in terms of treating cancer, we should have been looking at that a long time ago. That actually being bedridden causes more issues than actually moving when we can. And we're going to talk about the evidence, so I won't go too much into that just yet. But I want to make sure that, we are looking at all of those factors. It's no wonder people get fatigue, cancer-related fatigue, when they've gone through treatment or have had cancer. So often, and I've spoke to a lot of young people and a lot of people through our 5K away groups, often people get really, really frustrated because they don't understand why they feel this way. and then their friends and family don't understand why they can't do things that they used to do. Like, why can't I go for a really busy weekend and be absolutely fine and be able to do that weekend after weekend after weekend? Like, you soon find that cancer-related fatigue hits in, and actually we need to now look at what we can do about that. So I am going to have, so hopefully everybody's, can you give me a thumbs up in the chat box? Or like, yeah, so everyone's still with me. I think I can see, I can't quite see the chat box. But we're going to just go into, I don't know why I can't see the chat box, but I think it's just because, so Georgie will let me know anyway. So we're going to go into how it makes you feel. So what I want to do for this bit is just get to make sure you're all listening, so it's not just me talking. I want you, if you are somebody who is going through their cancer treatment, has been diagnosed with cancer, or has been through treatment, or is a friend or family member of somebody who has gone through cancer treatment, can you please put in the chat box how does having cancer-related fatigue make you feel? Oh, I can see, I think I can see the chat box. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen so I can go back onto, there we go, so I can see the chat box. So pop in the chat box there about how it makes you feel. Okay, annoyed, frustrated, okay. So we're actually bringing up some of those mental side of things now, frustrated, sad and confused. Okay, so a lot of very, very similar. Lots of my patients describe life limiting, yeah. Okay, so keep putting them in the chat box. Has anybody, even like physical side effects of cancer-related fatigue, how does that make you feel? It's just good to get an understanding of what people are really, really feeling. If anybody can pop. Fat, okay, yeah. Can't focus, frustrated myself that I couldn't do things I used to, and folk don't get it. Yeah, that's a big one. And other people understanding is a big one. Foggy, associated with nausea and not being able to do what I want, tired, heavy limbs, weak, exhausted. Yeah, okay, yeah. So lots of, and these are really, you know, these are what we're feeling, and they're important to recognize. And I think what I want to get to you guys is the first step of really dealing with cancer-related fatigue is understanding it and becoming aware of how it makes you feel. Yeah. Okay, and often I think people don't realize how much of an impact it has on their life until they start talking about that. Yeah, now I finished, I feel so weak. Yeah, okay. And everybody's at different stages of the journey here. And I think it's really interesting that misunderstood comes up a lot. So even with healthcare professionals, it's like, do they really understand how I feel? It's a silent side effect in terms of, you might look okay and you might say you're okay, but deep down, like I can hear from these comments in the chat box, it's having a deliberate effect on your body and a devastating impact on your life as well, which is why we want to do this workshop first. Okay, so I'm just going to go back on the screen to share. Good. Hopefully everyone's enjoying the participation and audience interaction. Okay, so what some of the what also you might feel, and there's some symptoms of cancer-related fatigue, are that, for example, you might be lacking in energy, so you may want to stay in bed all day. You might feel that you can't be bothered to do much, and this might be very different to what you experienced previously. So you might have sleeping problems, you might feel anxious. Like, people really underestimate the mental impact of a journey with cancer. And so pain in your muscles, they might be really affected, really hard to concentrate. So even things like watching TV, your mind and your brain's all over the place and you can't even concentrate for more than a couple of minutes. Finding it hard to think clearly or make decisions, loss of interest in doing things that you usually enjoy, and negative feelings about yourself. So you can see how there's a lot to deal with here. And it's not just that, it's not just an easy thing to reduce in terms of a symptom. It's not an easy thing to deal with either. So we're just going to talk about, I'm just going to move the slide, and we're going to talk about the evidence in a minute, because I think if you understand the evidence, we can then look at the solutions and ways we can help you improve that fatigue. So I just want to touch that fatigue can last a while, and what we want to try and do is help you put little things into your life to help you reduce it, but it won't necessarily get rid of it straight away. But we want to work on these small things that we can do daily that can improve that. So anybody on here who is going through their treatment, it is really important to talk to your doctor or your healthcare professional about what you're feeling with cancer-related fatigue. There are amazing doctors out there who understand around exercise and cancer. We're still trying to educate as many as we can, but it is worth talking to them so that they understand that it is very much a symptom that you are dealing with and that you are also potentially struggling with. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about is the evidence now. So when I was diagnosed with cancer, and the reason I set up Move Charity, there was a lack of evidence around cancer and exercise and how it can help reduce the different symptoms of treatment. However, now, and if anybody's seen last year in The Guardian, the Australian Institute basically Oncology Institute came out and said, it's actually safer to be moving than it is to be sat still when going through cancer. Now, some of the people on this workshop will know that and already be living proof of that. Other people will be sit there thinking, oh my God, I couldn't even think about moving. And that's okay. Everybody is at different stages, but also everybody had a completely different physical activity level or background pre-cancer. So that's always important to recognize. But what actually moving can do, and having that healthy lifestyle, because it is about movement, but it's about everything else that comes underneath it, is also reducing the risk of treatment, enhanced self-esteem, and reducing the risk of reoccurrence and improved survival. So that evidence is really out there. So I just want to go through some of the key benefits. So along with those, so we're looking at decreased rate of cancer progression. Okay, so these studies have been done on different types of cancer, but overall, these are what they're saying. Actually, exercise helps to decrease. So it helps to improve quality of life, reduce the side effects and the risks of treatment. It also improves our biggest one. It's the biggest improver of cancer-related fatigue, prevents bone mineral loss and density and developing osteoporosis, controls body weight and lean muscle, eases symptoms of lymphedema, improves overall survival, and also reduces the risk of other comorbidities. And I think this is a really important one to realize. Just because somebody is diagnosed with cancer or has had cancer in their lifetime doesn't mean that you are immune to developing any other comorbidities. And I think that's where it's really important to understand that, to know that having that healthy lifestyle and thinking about exercise, bring it into your life, is really helpful. Now, they always say if exercise can be put into a pill and we could all take it, we'd all be taking it. And that's very true. It isn't that easy to make changes to our life, okay? It isn't that easy. I'm just going to move that screen to make sure I've got you guys. Okay, it isn't that easy to make those changes in our life. That's why if it was a pill, everybody would have taken it. That's why it's not a pill, and actually not everybody's doing it. So that's also really important to recognize as well. So what I want to show you now is we're going to talk about how much we should be doing in the guidelines. Now, I don't want everybody to get overwhelmed with this, because you're also at different stages. So I'm going to talk about how we can go from doing nothing to doing something, or how you can go from setting your own goals into doing things that are right for you, okay? So let's have a look here. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm just going to, can I just get a thumbs up in the chat box to know that everybody's still with me, because I'm doing a lot of talking right now, but I want to check that you guys, thumbs in the chat box, I can see you. Yeah, it's because I can't see faces when I'm presenting, so I can see smiley faces, everybody's happy, everybody's listening. Okay, it's the first time I've done this, so I realize if the feedback is Gemma spoke too much, I'm fine about that, and I'll try and cut it down. But what I want to show you here, so I'm going to show you, oh, can everyone see? Hold on, I think I need to share my screen again. Let me just share. Is my screen still sharing? Can everyone see my screen? No. Yeah. No?
No.
Okay.
No, everyone's shaking their head.
Okay, can you see it now?
No.
1 second then. Let's get back to share screen. There we go. Okay, let's get off here. Let's get on to this infographic that I'm sharing. Right,
yeah, there you go.
Let's go on to view. We're doing a bit of shifting around here, guys. So view, full screen mode. Okay, can everyone see? Brilliant. Okay. So hopefully everybody can see that. So this is an infographic that Dr. Anna Campbell shared with us through in our question and answer we did. And Dr. Anna Campbell she leads up the Safe Fit program, which is an exercise program similar to what Move do, that's supported by cancer rehab specialists, but that is for 18 plus, so all ages, and you get supported by cancer rehab specialists that just launched in the last lockdown. So Anna has a background of 15 years in exercise and cancer and research. So she shared this infographic with us, and I thought it was a really good thing to touch on, because what basically we're talking about is exercise being the #1 intervention to reduce cancer-related fatigue. So what we now want to talk about is, okay, so that's great, but what do I need to be doing? How do I need to be doing it? And how do I actually get started? So actually what we want to try and do to get started is to pretty much avoid being inactive. So I always talk about it as sitting less, moving more. So that would be the #1 step. And probably for anybody who has spent a lot of years of their life inactive, or treatment has caused them to be completely inactive, the first step is actually just to think about reducing your sitting time. Because actually sitting is, you need to sit at some times, but when you can, what we want to do is try and encourage you to move around. Okay, so that's actually just to get us started. Now, if we're looking at overall health, there's exercise guidelines out there, and some people turn their noses up to guidelines, and I completely agree sometimes, because they aren't specific to us and our situations. And we have to be, while I'm talking through this, you have to be very mindful. If I said 150 minutes of exercise, moderate exercise to somebody, they'd literally laugh in my face, because they're not even at 10 minutes of physical exercise a week. So we have to look at it as a progression. We have to look at it as your individual goals and your individual needs and your current health status. And then we have to look at what are the right steps for you to help bring exercise into your life. But same again, there'll be people on here who are exercising 300 minutes a week, but actually are you doing 2 resistance sessions a week? So again, take this knowledge and take this advice into your own situation. But really what we are aiming for in the long run is 150 minutes of moderate, at least 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week, which is around about that 5 times 30 minutes every single day. And when we're talking about that moderate exercise, we're talking about going for that walk or that slow jog, or doing a 5K away, move your way session, or gardening, just getting outside and moving moderately. But moderate exercise will look very different to different people. So some people, moderate exercise will look like a slow walk with a friend, or some gardening. For example, moderate exercise for me, who's a runner, would be an easy run. So we're looking at your levels of fitness specific to you and what moderate exercise is. And as you get fitter and you develop over time, or your treatment changes, or you move away from being on treatment for cancer, moderate exercise will look different at different points in your life. So I want to be quite clear about that, because I think people assume that they have to be, a moderate exercise is an easy run, for example, and it's not. It's what that looks like for you. Okay. So the other way you can look at it as well, you can bring in less exercise in terms of minutes, but higher intensity. So that would be more vigorous exercise, up to 150 minutes per week. So that's kind of your aerobic side of things, where we're getting our heart and lungs working and pumping. So if you're out for a walk, your heart and lungs will be working and pump it around the body. You progress that walk to a brisk walk. As you get fitter, you pump your heart and lungs around the body. Or for some people, that would be a run. So you're getting your heart and lungs fitter. Now, the other side of things, which I think is a really good way to start off introducing exercise into your life, can be the resistance exercise. So with the resistance exercise, what you're looking at is 2 times a week of doing this. And this can be starting off with body weight exercises. So for example, resistance exercise is all about increasing muscular strength in the body. So that could be, for somebody who's been really inactive, that could be just standing up and off a chair. So sit to stands, basically squatting down onto a chair or your sofa, getting back up again, even if you have to use your hands to start off with, doing that 8 times, for example, in between watching TV. For somebody who's more moderate, that could be some body weight exercises. Say, again, one of our Move Your Way sessions, which is actually happening on this Saturday. Again, things like just lifting up with a broom, depending on what type of treatment you had, but you're basically trying to build strength in those muscles. And then for somebody who's had exercise in their life, they do a particular sport, that might be a weight session at the gym with dumbbells or kettlebells or squat racks, or a bar across your back for a squat. So you can see how that resistance comes into it. But really, to build a strong body and muscles to support the skeleton, and to get our muscular, our muscles a lot stronger, we need to bring in those resistance exercises twice a week at least. So that's very, very important there. Okay. So not only does it help with cancer-related fatigue, going through this journey and bringing exercise into your life, but it also helps to increase your quality of life and helps physical function. There's so much evidence now on the mental aspects of bringing exercise and physical activity and movement into your life and how that really helps with depression, so reducing those feelings and thoughts, and helps with that side effects of cancer treatment, helps with sleep, lymphedema and bone health. Okay, so again, what we'll do is we'll send this out so that you can use it as a tool, but basically this info gives you to improve all symptoms above. You can choose and look at this exercise scenarios below. But what I would do is, what we need to talk about in a minute is your goals. So it's like what you want to achieve in order to be able to put a plan in place to be able to achieve that. So I'm just going to come off from sharing that. And I just want to have a chat on the chat box. Can you guys let me know, do you all do exercise? So are you all sit in one of those brackets of what we went down on the that infographic, where you're just trying to sit less and move a little bit more, or do you do a lot of sport, or do you are you starting on that journey and wanting to bring exercise into your life? Just pop in the chat box where you are with the exercise and movement journey in your life. Just a quick snapshot. That would be brilliant. While I have a look at everybody's faces. Am I doing okay, Georgie? Good. Hopefully everybody's not switched off. Okay, hula hooping, love that. Yep, so this is where we get great exercise ideas as well. So again, brill, daily swim, bike, run, starting running but fighting an injury. Yep, often always tough. Lots of walking, need to add resistance. Walk for 30 minutes most days. Okay, Jen, yep, just started the Safe Fit trial. So we'll talk about that at the end of the links. Got back into walking and aim to get to the mountains. Yep. Once lockdown eases, keen on trying to get back running and weight, cycling 3 times a week when the weather and fatigue allows. Brill. Lifelong exercise running. So we've got people, keep coming in the chat box. We've got everybody from different walks of life. But this, I think everybody should also look and read through the chat box, because it's always good to see different stories and inspirations and people at completely different levels, just starting out, but also, you know, already on their journey in terms of bringing more exercise into their life. And what I'd like to say is, often the key is, when you're going through cancer treatment, a lot of it is about maintenance, or just basically sitting less and moving more. So what we try, when I work with somebody as a cancer rehab instructor, if you were going through cancer treatment, what I would recommend is just trying to maintain the levels of fitness that you have, or move a little bit more, but not actually go on a full exercise kind of regime of I want to do this, do that, because you are dealing with the side effects of treatment, and you're likely to have ups and downs depending on when you're on treatment, when you're off treatment. Okay, so yeah, Louise actually says that fatigue seems to be really kicking in now. Now I'm running more. Yeah, so it's just balancing that. And lots of people starting the Safe Fit trial. I know a few people have been through our Move program with young people, so that's absolutely brilliant on there. Okay, good. Joe Wicks workout. Okay, well, watch your joints with the Joe Wicks workout as well, guys. I think that's yeah, Joe Wicks is brilliant. Just watch all the jumping. I just point that out just there. Okay, so I'm just gonna go on to sharing my screen again. So I am jumping in and out of things, guys, but really good to see. So I'll just exit that if I can get back onto my presentation. Okay, so techno stuff here. Okay, so really that's what we've talked about today, is what should I be aiming for, what are the guidelines, and what is right for me. So hopefully I've been through that. Now, the key to getting started with any of this is understanding, so hopefully you're more aware of what cancer-related fatigue, how it affects you and how it affects your body. But what we want to look at is, what do you want to achieve? Now, this is the problem. I think that most people don't get moving because they don't really have a goal and a why behind getting moving. So most of you guys will have the why in terms of wanting to reduce cancer-related fatigue, but we got to look a little bit deeper than that as well, in terms of, do we have a goal that we want to achieve? Is it actually just that we want to be out and about? Is it that we want to improve strength in our body so we can do a certain thing, run after our grandkids, or, you know, be able to go for a walk with our friends? It's always really good to set that long-term goal. And we are going to, I realized when I was planning this workshop, I am never going to get covered in an hour goal setting, fatigue diaries, nutrition diaries, and activity diaries all in this workshop. So we will, just for the people on this workshop, we will bring another workshop on in the next month or so, which will home in and will actually go through specific goal setting. But I want you to just, this is a takeaway, I want you to set a goal, okay? So we're not going to do this on our chat box, but I want you to think of what goal means something to you. So it might be a goal that's in a month's time, it might be a long-term goal in a year's time. But if you set that goal, you're more likely to set out a plan or a blueprint to focus on that, rather than just ticking along or just going with the flow, which is nice. But actually, if we want to make improvements and want to reduce our cancer-related fatigue, it's important that we have set a goal and have that in our minds about 5% of the time, but then set a plan in place of how we're going to achieve that. And you will really find, once you start doing that, it does really make a difference. And I think even if you set a goal, you know, it doesn't have to be like I'm going to run a marathon, or I'm going to climb a mountain, or I'm going to do something really adventurous. It could be that by the end of the month, I'd like to go and meet my friend for a half-an-hour walk, or by spring, I would like to have enough strength and enough fitness to be able to go out in the garden and do my gardening, which is what I did before. So I think it's really important to set those goals. Now, another thing I'm going to show you on how to get started is, I'm just going to show you, and we'll share this afterwards, a fatigue diary. So we need to understand our fatigue. Now so once you set your goal, you need to understand it, because once you understand it in terms of how it affects you on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, you will then be able to put the right kind of process or the right blueprint in place to help you overcome that. So I'm just going to go onto this document here. Okay, so this is a fatigue diary. We'll just share this. So I've used this with a number of young people that I've worked with, and it's been really, really effective. And again, you can, you know, not all of us want paper stuff. You can do this on a phone. You can do it on Google Sheets. You can create your own fatigue diary. That's absolutely fine. But what it does is it monitors over a 4-week period what your fatigue levels are and what's really going on with your body. So really, you want to look over that 4-week period. We're looking at 1 to 6 as the energy. And then we're also looking at so if you go for your treatment on, say, week 2 on a Monday, if you're still going through treatment, you'd put crossing that box, and then you'd be able to analyze after those 4 weeks what it is that's going on with those levels. So is it going up and down? Is it staying consistent in your fatigue? Do you have really good days, really bad days? Because then what you're able to do is look at, we're going to go into the activity diary, look at what you've been doing in your activities in life that may impact that fatigue level. So treatment, when you have treatment, maybe one of them, or if you've had your hemoglobin levels tested and they're really low, they might impact on your fatigue. Or what we talk about is this we look at giving you 10 spoons of sugar, okay? So having those 10 spoons of sugar and using them all up in the morning on a 3-hour walk with your friend and being exhausted for the rest of the day. So actually what we want to try and do is evenly spread those 10 spoons of sugar out throughout the day. and that will hopefully help to balance those fatigue levels. But what this also might help you to do is might help you to notice on some days you have more energy, on other days you have less energy. So when you plan your activities, so maybe earlier on in the week you feel like you've got more energy and are able to do a little bit more, and actually you know that the later on in the week it's more around rest days and recovery. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, you can also use different trackers. So heart rate can be tracked, which can also help you to understand fatigue levels. People use Strava, they use different health trackers. You can use all of them to help you track those levels as well. But I think this is a really, really important first step for you guys to be able to understand that. So I'm just going to go into the activity diary now. So hopefully you guys can see that. So again, this can be done, don't need that, this can be done on the phone as well, or just in your notes. Doesn't have to be done this way, I'm just giving you an example. But this is where we track our sleep and our quality of sleep, as well as our activities. So you look here, it's really simple, Monday to Sunday, hours of the day, sleep quality. Okay, if I had 8 hours sleep last night, felt great, that would be a 10. If I woke up every hour, that would be a 0. Activities of the day, and then you rate them in terms of how you felt. So for example, if on here I had 1 hour sleep, and then had my breakfast, went back to sleep, tried to go out for a walk, went back to sleep, what would my fatigue level be? It would probably be a 10, because I was absolutely exhausted. But what we can also do is record our daily activity. So cooking, cooking, shopping, work, if I'm on my computer all the time, exercising, looking at all of this rest, like what have I been doing, sitting, watching TV, looking at caffeine intake, record daytime naps, record stressful times and when you're worrying, because these variables will all impact that fatigue we are feeling, along with those causes of fatigue that we spoke about earlier on in this session. But if we can get a really good understanding for this, we can get that picture of what's going on in our lives to be able to take those steps to work towards achieving our goals. So you can just see some of this was like what I did in the evening, bedtime, when I went to sleep, how many times did I wake up? So really good questions that just get you to think a little bit more about what's going on in your life in a little bit more detail, so that you can help yourself and you can come up with those solutions or those next steps. Okay. So then the last one is, you don't have to use all of these. These are just some tools that when we've worked with people in the past, we found them to be really useful, and people have either used one tool, or they've used all 3, or they've created their own little booklet. They've got a notepad and they've done their own journal. We had one girl who put loads of stickers on them instead of, writing an X in the box with different emojis. So you can, journaling is a big thing that a lot of people do now. So this can become part of your journal to help you on your fatigue journey with that. So I'm just having a drink. So this is the food diary, and again, we want people to have positive relationships with food, and we want, we're not tracking our calorie intake or anything. What we're trying to track is actually how food potentially can add to fatigue and make us feel. So sometimes I would actually avoid the calorie column. I hate calories. I don't even think about them. I don't think about weight. But what we can do is we can look at what foods are we eating, what is our mood, how much water, so water can contribute to feeling not so great, and then adding in your notes so that you can get that picture, even if it's just a few days or a week, of what makes us feel better, what makes us feel a little bit worse as well. Okay, so I'm just checking the chat box. Yeah, could you, so I've just seen in the chat box, which I can see, could you please send a copy of the tools? Absolutely. So we'll be sending all of these out after the workshop as well. So Georgie's wrote that as well. Okay, so that's what we're gonna be sending out. And if I had more time, I would do a full workshop on how you use these. But today is really just a snapshot, where then what we do is take your feedback and questions. And if there's anything we want to dive deeper into, which I think from my personal, when I was planning the workshop, would be the goal settings, and then how to really deep dive and integrate this stuff into your life, we will likely to do that. So what I want to just go back to is this bit here, because I know I'm going to leave a bit of time for questions. So hopefully everybody is finding this useful, not too much information, but a good starting point on understanding what cancer-related fatigue is, why it happens, and what you can do about it. So what I want to talk to you about now is, and what most people ask is, okay, that I've been through this this workshop, I understand a little bit more, I've got some tips, I've got some tools, I've got some knowledge, but how can I integrate it and how can I get more support? Okay, so I've got a few things to talk about here. So one of them is, as Move Charity and our 5K Your Way initiative, we have been developing resources over lockdown, which we feel are really good resources to help you. We talk a lot about cancer and exercise, but what we do is we bring experts into those resources. So they are question and answers, they're blogs, our new YouTube channel. But what we do is we also use our community stories to hopefully inspire people. So we know that, you know, when I was diagnosed with cancer, I didn't really know anybody who'd had cancer and used exercise. And I felt quite alone, actually. I wasn't being told the right information from my consultants. I didn't know that exercise would have really helped me when I went through my cancer treatment. And what I wanted to do is make sure that people got the support they needed and deserved. And then once we set up Move Charity and co-founded 5K Your Way initiative with Lucy Gossage, our incredible oncology consultant, and also 12 times Ironman lady champion. But once we did that, we opened up a new world of stories from people who'd used exercise as a way of changing their life once they were diagnosed with cancer. And there's so many different stories on there which are really inspiring. So I'd encourage everybody to go and look at them. I'm going to show you the website in a minute. We also have our 5K Away YouTube channel, which has Couch to 5K programs. It has a Walk to 5K program from our 5K Away ambassadors who have also been through cancer treatment themselves. Great stories for you guys to look at. And our Move Your Way sessions, which we do on the last Saturday of every month in lockdown at the moment. And they are really low level, moving your way sessions that anybody could take part in. We also offer a chair-based option, and then you can repeat them again in the week if you're looking for something to help you to start moving. Okay, and then we also have useful links. So over the last year, we've really worked and partnered with some incredible people like Dr. Anna Campbell, the Safe Fit program, Moving Medicine, who else am I thinking? The Manchester Rehab for Cancer guys. So we have got those useful links in those, I'm not going to go thank you just yet, in those areas. So I'm going to show you here. So if you go to our 5K Away website, we have got resources. So you'll be able to see we've got about this section, question and answers, blogs, Move Your Way sessions and videos from our community. So I'll show you here. You'll be able to watch. So there's Lucy and Georgie and Kevin from last week's question and answer. So talking about life with a cancer diagnosis with Sky News presenter Jackie and her daughter Amelia. Lymphedema and asking questions with our experts. We've got Talking Things Stoma, Cancer and Exercise with Sarah Russell, who's going to be doing a workshop soon. Talking Mindset Through Cancer. So loads of really inspiring talks that you can take. You know, everybody's really different when they share their cancer story. So you can take different things from different people and who you resonate with and who you might need that little bit of inspiration from. So we have that there. We also have blogs and newsletters from our community. So you'll be able to log on to that and see our blogs and people who have been through our programs, have been supported or use exercise to really help and support them on their cancer journey. We also have our Move Your Way sessions. So I think this is a really useful and can be a fantastic starting point for anybody who's a little bit nervous to get moving a little bit more, or is at the very journey of their start of their movement journey. So we have, as you said, we have chair-based exercises from our 5K Your Way ambassadors who are cancer rehab instructors. So we will send links out to these so you guys can see there's loads of exercises that you can just do at home in front of the TV if you want to. So we have all of that on there. We also have our, I'll show you here. So these know about, so you can see here, if you're looking for extra support where you'll guide me through the process, So I think my internet's a little bit unstable, but hopefully you guys can still hear me. I'm just checking.
You just cut out a sec. Do you want to just say that again? You're back now.
Yes. Yeah, perfect. So what we wanted to do is provide you links of people that we love to work with and have also had relationships with. But if you're really sat there thinking, I really need support and I need somebody to, you know, their Safe It program is really, really good for that. Or if you're a young person under the age of 30, our Move program to provide cancer rehab support again. But there's also so much information on Macmillan, on our own websites, Moving Medicines, to really give you, so you'll be able to see here, the support that you need. And what we're trying to do is create that one-stop shop that basically you can go to and go, come to our website and go, I want to know about cancer and exercise and how I bring it into my life. And hopefully this provides that. So I'm going to go back to my screen there, stop sharing. Okay, so I'm going to go, we are nearly finished there, guys. I'm conscious we're coming up to 5 to 5. I know I have been through a lot there, but I just want you to think about what you've taken from this workshop. Is there a key point or a tool or some knowledge that you've learned, and pop it in, and then I'm going to try and answer some of the questions that you guys have got. But bearing in mind, I can't answer them too specific because you know, we can save some of the workshops, so we can provide you with some extra support for that. Okay, is there a way telling, so I'm just going to, so if you guys just pop in the chat box of what you may be taken from this session. Yeah, and Tony, I can see there. Yeah, hi Tony, hope you're really well. Care program. Yeah, anybody in Nottingham, care program, the Nottingham County Foundation have really good resources and answer these questions here. So is there any way of telling the difference between cancer related fatigue and just overdo it? I want to rest if my body needs to, but actually I don't want to exercise if it would make me feel better. Yeah, so there is, I think Louise, the best thing to do there is to keep that diary, and then you'll be able to see the trends of what your tiredness is coming from. So if you are tired from doing a lot of exercise, that is normal, and working a little bit hard doing exercise will make you tired. But it's understanding on what level you are at with your fitness, how long that tiredness carries on. And so I think that, you know, the fatigue tracker would be a really good thing for you to start with, to really understand what those levels feel like. And I do get your point in terms of, yeah, are you doing too much or is it just the fatigue? So I think if you can have a look at that fatigue diary, that will really help to be a first step in understanding liberating fatigue that really, you know, knocks your socks off and can't do the normal things that you'd usually do. Okay, so Louise, I hope that answered your question. Let me know if it didn't, and also I can, if you want to drop me an email afterwards, I can go through that in a little bit more detail. So yeah, keep popping the things that you may have learned. Hopefully everybody's learned something in the session. So thank you so much. Looking forward to the next one on goals and planning. Yeah, so I think that, Catherine, I think that will definitely be our next session. I have to plan my walks and runs so my husband can have the kids when I go. Can't wait for part run to start. Absolutely. And I think some of it's even, you know, put fatigue aside, some of it's actually how do we plan exercise and movement into our lives when we might have a lot going on in our lives as well. Denise, I wish I had this access to this information the last 2 years. It will really help. Yeah, Denise, yeah. And I was exactly the same when I was diagnosed with cancer. There wasn't this information about, and what I'm trying to do is not make it clinical, not make it overly sciencey, but bring it into create a workshop and information that you can take and put, even if you take one thing and put it into your life, that's what's most important. It's those small steps and those small habits that you make every single day that make the difference in the long run. It's not about having this massive overhaul and change of your life and taking these massive steps, because realistically we can't do them consistently day after day after day. Yeah, so you can do too much exercise, absolutely, and Janet is 100% spot on there. So again, rest and recovery is really, really important. So I was going to just finish on, where was it? Yes, so rest and recovery is really important. So what to get started, what's really important is around setting those goals, making sure that you also understand and know your fitness levels, where you don't try and do too much. You start off really gradually, you take the steps on sitting a little bit less and moving a little bit more. And also you monitor your fatigue levels and make sure that you're just taking small steps to make those changes, not trying to have a massive overhaul of your life and go basically run before you've even tried to walk. So that's really important to understand as well. Yeah, so I'm just reading these comments. Great session. I had cancer 2 years ago. Depending on what I doing, still have good days and bad days with fatigue. Yeah, and I think sometimes it's just recognizing and being aware of that that's really important, and hopefully you'll be able to put some steps in place after this to really make those changes to your life. Is there anything specific for retired people? As a lot of it seems to be aimed at younger people, mainly in our prospect cancer group, are retired and don't use the internet. Yeah, Martin, that's a really good point. So thank you for kind of sharing that with us. So what we have, yeah, and that's the hardest thing. A lot of things now is internet based. We do have, so as 5K away groups, we do have flyers and leaflets in hospitals. We were also trying to educate healthcare professionals, which is a huge, huge thing that needs to happen, around the benefits of exercise and cancer, and them talking to patients around exercise and cancer, because they have the teachable moments that when you're in hospitals and they are face to face with you. Moving Medicine are doing a lot around this, but to also talk to you about exercise and movement levels. I do also know that Macmillan have information centres in the hospitals, which have really great resources like leaflets and booklets, that can be really helpful. And pre-COVID, like including our 5K Away support group, we have a lot of retired people coming to our support groups, and also other charities have those support groups out there. The issue, as everybody knows, is COVID right now, and everybody's doing their best to provide the resources that they can. But hopefully the Macmillan information centres will be able to, they have the leaflets and information in there as well. So Martin, any questions, I can take that offline and help with that as well, to provide you guys with more information. Always love having that feedback. Fatigue plan sounds like a good idea. Is there any videos you can watch on a daily basis? Michelle, I finished main treatment and need to start exercise. So Michelle, I'd say our Move Your Way sessions would be a really good one to start. So perhaps not on a daily basis, but we have enough videos going. We have the videos on our website, so you can look back at them. But also you could potentially look at the Stay Fit program to be able to join as well. So maybe look at more detail in that. Okay. Ellie, thank you, has assured me as a healthcare professional that I'm okay to keep encouraging my patients to exercise. Yeah, brilliant. So, and remember, exercise is a scary word. Like, everybody just assumes exercise is the structured thing around it. Think it's going to the gym or running. It really isn't. So this is why I always talk about movement as a way of life. Or physical activity. So they are often better words to use to have a positive impact when people hear them, because often people cut off as soon as you say exercise. So movement as a way of life is my favorite word. Sitting a little bit less and moving a bit more. And I agree, Tony, that's brilliant. Yeah, so this is really good insights, because I'm, as from healthcare professionals or somebody who's had cancer, we all have different ways it impacts us. And Tony's absolutely right. You also need to be flexible. There are days where you will be in bed for 2 weeks and not be able to move. But like what I said, when you can, do a little bit of movement when you feel like you can, and have that little bit of a plan, but be flexible with that plan as well, will really help. Yeah. Okay. Martin. Okay. What we can do, Martin, is if you drop us an email, just saying the facilities in the hospitals are closed due to COVID, Macmillan centres. Okay, yeah, drop us an email and we'll make sure you get some information as well. Hopefully that helps. Brill, yeah. What impact having? A fatigue diary is really helpful. Okay, so I am reading these guys, all this stuff out. So if you're still on the session, that's great, because I think it's really important. Thank you for sharing the evidence base. Yeah, no man, yeah, really useful. As I said, reassurance that we're giving out the right advice. My new motto, small steps to summit of our dreams. Absolutely, yeah. And one of my favorite quotes I'm going to leave you on is, it's not about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning to dance in the rain. So that was one of my quotes that I went through during cancer treatment. And for me, it was just, you know, it was a really important quote for me, just to keep me thinking about keeping on moving through these really difficult times. So you can take that how you want, but hopefully you enjoyed the workshop. I feel like I've done so much talking today, guys, and I'm sure I'll learn from this workshop to when we do another workshop. But hopefully you guys have at least taken one thing from it. I've inspired you today to even think about what you can do to help reduce your cancer-related fatigue, and you understand a little bit more about cancer-related fatigue as well. So what we want to just say a huge thank you to everybody who's come on. We do take so much feedback from you guys. So anything you want to know more about, any workshops, any question and answers, anybody who's got a story to share us, please get in touch, because we base our workshops around what people need and what people want to hear. So please get in touch with Georgie or myself, and we can help guide those conversations and make sure you guys are hearing what you need to hear. Georgie's just got to finish up because we do have another workshop coming up next month that Georgie wants to tell you about. But from me, thank you so much, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll pass on to Georgie before we let you guys go.
Yeah, just really quickly, yeah, thanks so much, Gemma. That was brilliant. I learned loads, didn't know lots of that, so super useful. You're getting lots and lots of thank yous in the chat box, and I think Tony's just shared something there as well. And as Gemma said, I'll share all of these things that Gemma's discussed and all of the links as well. And you can always just email me back info@5kyourway.org, but you'll get the email from me anyway, so you'll have that. And then just really quickly, the next workshop we're going to do is with Sarah Russell, and this is on Wednesday, the 24th of Feb, and it's mainly aimed towards people that are post-op stoma or abdominal surgery, and Sarah's actually going to take people through some exercises, so it's going to be a much more of a kind of actual movement session. So if you or you know anyone that's kind of in that kind of position, open to everyone, but aimed at people that are 4 weeks or more post-op after any type of abdominal surgery, including stoma reversal, or any other type. And Sarah is a complete expert in all areas to do with stoma and bowel cancer. So if you know anyone, it would be great for you to pass that on to. We'll share the link for that as well, and that's coming up on Wednesday, the 24th of Feb. But we'll look, like as Gemma said, we're looking to do more workshops. So hopefully this has gone well, and we're going to do more in the future. So hopefully you will all enjoyed it, and thanks so much all for listening. Thanks again, Gemma.
Well, thanks, guys, and please just send us your feedback, good or bad. We're used to wanting to learn and make things better. That's really important for us. So if there are things that we could, you know, cover better or do differently, any feedback would be brilliant.